That sounds better. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info in Herringport, Harcourt. I'm Dio. 11 minutes coming past 3 p.m. And you're welcome to the show once again. It's a fine Monday. It's been cloudy. It's rained as well. So maybe not the brightest start in terms of the weather to the working week, but a fine Monday nonetheless. I don't know, I feel kind of chippy. There's a spring to my step today. Maybe because I got plenty of rest this weekend. I actually did. Come to think of it, I actually did get plenty of rest this weekend. So it's good to do that also, you know. I hope your weekend was even better than mine. And the start to the working week has been a fantastic one as well. Welcome once again. I heard about some of the events over the weekend. I didn't go out much. I spent most of the time sleeping a lot, watching plenty of TV as well. Heard about the Bola Festival though, and maybe I was slightly tempted to go. I confess I've never been to one, but I hope you had fun. I think the event hasn't held for a while because of the whole COVID pandemic and all, and I'm sure the organizers must have been glad that the event was able to hold today, and also the teaming youths. Okay, not youth. The teaming youth population that were there, I imagine they were glad as well, and I hope everything worked out fine. Even though, okay, I'm going to leave that alone. But I hope it worked out fine and you had a great time last weekend. Welcome once again. So from now till about 7 o'clock, yeah, 7 o'clock, we're going to have ourselves, I do hope an interesting conversation, or several conversations, several matters lined up for today's discourse. So we're taking them one at a time. Absolutely so. Once again, you're welcome to join in via the usual platforms. We are live on Facebook. Yeah, I almost said the other one. We're live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. Also live on YouTube. Just search for Nigeria Info PH on YouTube. WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416, and the phone lines will be open shortly as well. So let's see, matters of the discourse on the show today. I do have side comments coming up in a moment, random stories, random thoughts. A few quick thoughts on those. Nothing to be discussed now. Until much later on, of course, during the open season segment. After that, I do have a rant coming up. Now, that's one major issue of expressing some thoughts on, and you're welcome to express your thoughts and mine all the way till 4 p.m. Before we got the business news coming up, yes, we do. And after that, let's see. After that, we've got what do we have? When will Boko Haram suspects be arraigned? And why should anyone be concerned about the arraignment of these Boko Haram suspects? Is it really? Maybe I'm asking rhetorical questions, I suppose. But there's an article here I came across earlier today in the Punch newspaper. And it's captioned, Falano demands arraignment dates of detained 800 Boko Haram suspects. Falano demands arraignment dates of detained 800 Boko Haram suspects. Now, here's a bit of the story. Can I get to see a bit of the story? Oh my. Sorry about that. I'm having a bit of a technical issue here in the studio, but I do imagine that will resolve itself at some point. Okay, all right, maybe not. But we'll look at that later on the show today. Once again, stories captioned. Falano demands arraignment dates of Boko Haram suspects. Anyway, Kene will be my guest for that conversation. He is with the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. That comes up in the 4 o'clock hour after the business news till 5 p.m. Now, 5, we've got the news update coming up. And I know access to medical care is a very big concern in the country. Of course, I mean, when you have a president who... I came across a report over the weekend, I think it was cut to either the Cable or Premium Times, that indicated that the president, Buhari that is, has spent about 200 days out of the country on medical trips. Yeah, something like that. So, and of course, when we have honorables in a country where honorables and excellences are quick to jet out or jet off to some foreign country whenever they have a migraine, in spite of the world-class medical facilities that they're always building or refurbishing or fixing up in somewhere or another, you know. And the vast majority of the population are unable to afford health care, and that's why, you know, anyways, a lot of the terrible things that happen to people die of illnesses they shouldn't die of in the country because they're afraid to go to hospitals, you know. So, because access to healthcare, especially quality healthcare, is a big deal in the country, it smacks of and brings a sigh of relief, really, when you hear that there are some outfits out there, organizations, persons who are offering medical outreaches, especially of the free kind. It's a very good thing. It's heartwarming. Once again, you know, helps you heave a sigh of relief. We can do a lot more of that because one organization definitely can't do it all. But I'm aware that the Christian Pharmacist Fellowship of Nigeria are organizing a free 3 days medical outreach. What exactly are they planning? What is the nature and proposed impact of this free medical outreach? We'll be discussing the details of that and how possibly you can be a part of it as well. In the 5 o'clock hour, after the news update, I'll be having pharmacist Max Beckham, his president, Christian Pharmacist Fellowship of Nigeria. He'll be my guest on the show for that conversation in the 5 o'clock hour till 6, about 6, yeah, about 6 we'll wrap it up. Major news comes about 6 p.m. Then open season comes about to that. If you miss out on contributing to any matter discussed on the show, I'll take your thoughts during that period. At about 7, we'll wrap it up. The sports gang will be in for extra time. So pretty much that's the show today. Just caught sight of a WhatsApp message someone sent to me here. The Adedayo Festival was dope. I really enjoyed myself. The grand reception was at the D-Boss with Chike and Aksum Obina. Obina, I'm glad you had a good time. And I do imagine many other persons had a good time as well. Since I've mentioned one person who had a good time, maybe it won't be bad that I mentioned the other incident I wasn't going to talk about. So I had a conversation with a friend earlier today. She's a nurse. And she told me that she was at the festival as well. She had a good time, but the last couple of days have not been great for her. She's been purging, and she attributed to presumably some bullet she had at the festival. So it'll be nice. I'm sure it's a great event. You know, people have lots of fun, but if the organizers can put some measures in place to ensure that the food to be consumed by the people who throng this event is produced or made under the cleanest of environment, you know, and ensure that minimum standards or quality standards are adhered to in producing this food, and ensure they are produced hygienically, pardon me. And it, you know, so that we wouldn't have any case of food poisoning or people having any concerns afterwards, health-wise, of course. That would be nice. So, Obina and everybody else, I'm glad you had a great time at the Bola Festival. I'm sure it was fun. Okay, that said, that's the show today. Let's see, side comments, random stories and random thoughts that I came across as I checked out the news today. Let's see. Starting with this one. About 5 youth groups in the Niger Delta have threatened to shut down the NGDC headquarters in Port Harcourt if a substantive NGDC board is not set up within the next 14 days. Now, the groups under the South-South Youth Initiative regretted the continuous delay to set up the board. National President of the initiative, Emiabe Savio, I think it's Savio, Oscar, spoke on this. Let's hear what he said. His concerns about the NGDC board. That's 923, I suppose. CH9. All right, so here we are.
We call on the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, to immediately make efforts to constitute a substantive board for the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, within the next 14 days. If at the expiration of these 14 days, the Commission did not get a substantive board, the youth of the region, under the umbrella of the South-South Youth Initiative, our affiliate bodies and other well-meaning youth of the region, will shut down the Commission headquarters in Port Harcourt. This shutdown is already targeted Operation No Mercy for the wicked, and it will last until our demand is met.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds catchy, maybe, Operation No Mercy. I mean, when you hear Operation No Mercy, you're bound to think, oh, okay, what's that about? I mean, maybe, it might catch your attention. Yeah, not as incredible as Operation Desert Storm, for example, or Operation Crocodile Smile, or Operation Python Dance. And those ones sound really, damn, what's going on? So Operation No Mercy, it's okay. They could have done better with the name, though. But more important is, what is the essence of Operation No Mercy? What is the essence of this clamor for the setting up of a substantive NGDC board? I imagine that there are legal and constitutional implications, and those should be strictly adhered to. And by the way, should the NGDC get a substantive board? Yes, it should. But I can't help but wonder, what are the fundamental reasons? What is behind the clamor for the substantive NGDC board? I mean, we've had several substantive NGDC boards since the NGDC's creation till this moment. Of what use and benefit of all of these substantive NGDC boards being to the Niger Delta region? Really? So is it because we're concerned about the impact of the NGDC's substantive board to the Niger Delta region, or is it because we've not been getting our water hyacinth contract? Water hyacinth contract. Is that it? I'm just wondering, just curious. And by the way, the NGDC should get a substantive board. That should happen. I'm not saying that should not happen. That should happen. But once again, is it because substantive NGDC boards have been a fantastic or a source of immense blessing to the Niger Delta region, infrastructure-wise and otherwise? Or is it because we miss our water hyacinth contracts? I'm just thinking out loud. And the pensioners, or some of them in Rivers State, have again called on the Rivers State government to pay them their pension arrears. Leader of the affected pensioners, Lucky Ati, to our correspondent, they have not received their gratuity for the past 7 years. He also spoke on how the situation has affected them since retirement. Oh, that's interesting. Let's hear what Mr. Lucky Ati had to say about this development as well.
People are dying every day. The people are being sent out of the people that doesn't have their own personal houses. They've been sent. Landlords are on their neck. People are sick. They cannot get their medication again. I continue to say that people that retire within this age, most of them are diabetic or hypertensive, and these are sicknesses that need constant medication. So the thinking that you are young, you don't even have money to buy your drugs, is enough to kill somebody. That is why we are appealing to His Excellency that he should pay us.
Oh yeah, and by the way, the Excellency should pay them. But it's a bit confusing, the mixed messaging that comes from the pensioners. It's once again, for me personally, it's confusing, the mixed messaging, because one moment the pensioners, as they are doing now, Lucky Ati and the other leadership of the Pensioners Association, one moment they're talking about gratuities not being paid, how members are dying. The next moment, you hear how that we are thanking His Excellency for the giant strides that he's making in terms of what he has been doing for pensioners in Rivers State. Oh, His Excellency has been the best. In fact, we want to deeply appreciate His Excellency for all he has been doing for pensioners. If you go around the rest of the country, it's hard to find. What another Excellency doing what His Excellency has been doing here for pensioners in the state. And then another moment you hear, oh, pensioners are dead. Oh, they have died. In fact, if you are walking around, you just see dead pensioners. Pensioners dying everywhere. Then almost the next moment, as a matter of fact, pensioners it's wonderful what His Excellency has been doing. So basically, can the pensioners make up their minds on whether pensioners are dying, or whether gratuities have been paid, for His Excellency has been the best since sliced bread as far as dealing with matters regarding pensions or pensioners in the state. Decide definitively and take a stand on that, and then push that definitively. It'll be, I think, it'll be very nice. But I do hope the pensioners get paid their gratuities. Hope His Excellency will look into that. And also resident doctors at the now before I get to this story, I'd like to go a little back in time to you know, a story that was on our bulletin. I think this was August 3. It has to do with the resident doctors and the current strike they've embarked on. Resident doctors at the Rivers State University Teaching Hospital and their counterparts at UPTH have joined the indefinite nationwide strike, which started on Monday over welfare issues. The president of the Association of Resident Doctors at RSUTH, George Ella, told our correspondent that they joined the strike because the Rivers State government is yet to pay COVID-19 inducement hazard allowance. Let's hear what George Ella had to say about this matter at that time. Where is it? Oh, here we are.
For us who are resident doctors at the University Teaching Hospital, we are not paid the COVID-19 allowance, despite the fact that we are dangerously exposed to the COVID-19 viral disease. Right now we are on the third wave. As we speak, there's one of our members who is currently down because of attending to a patient. And of course, those who are exposed, they are all at risk now. So the payment of COVID-19 inducement hazard allowance is just a morale booster for us.
Dangerously exposed, morale booster, you know, and all of that. Now, Dr. Ella said the shortage of workers in the health sector of the state has created a heavy burden and more workload on doctors. Here is him speaking again.
The workload is so much, you know, it places excess burden on the doctors. A lot of doctors at the moment as we speak are depressed. We are appealing to both the federal and state governments to address the welfare needs of doctors so that we can reduce the exodus of doctors out of the country.
Now, when asked what the union would do if the state government decides to implement its no work, no pay policy, Dr. Ella had this to say.
We believe that the governor is a man with a listening ear, a man, you know, that understands the importance of health. The governor is saddled with quite a lot of responsibility. This that the then doctors are crying out
going to be addressed and all of that. Now, let's fast forward to today. This was on the news earlier. Resident doctors at the Rivers State University Teaching Hospital has called off its indefinite strike action 7 days after it joined its national body NARD on the strike. President of the association at RSUTH, George Ella, said the decision was taken at an emergency meeting of the association. Emergency meeting. Let's hear what he had to say about this decision to call off the strike at the Rivers State level. Just a moment while I wave that one up. Here we are.
The Rivers State government has demonstrated commitment to addressing the nagging welfare needs of the resident doctors, such as implementation of the wage-adjusted COMEX 2019, payment of the COVID-19 inducement hazard allowance, and employment of more resident doctors, amongst others. To reciprocate government gesture and goodwill, and to ameliorate the sufferings and pains of Rivers people, therefore, Congress has resolved that our members should return to the clinics from 0800 hours on Monday, 9th August 2021. We commend the Nyesom-led government and thank Rivers people for standing by us during this period. Congress wishes to reiterate the commitment of the resident doctors at Rivers State University Teaching Hospital to the vision of the hospital in ensuring excellence in training, research, and service delivery.
Oh, that sounds really nice. But when and how exactly did the Rivers State government express this resolve or show this newfound, supposedly, this newfound commitment to doing this? I'm not saying the Rivers State government did not. And by the way, kudos to the government if they did. But the more fundamental issue here is when and how did the Rivers State government show this resolve to address all of these matters that were outlined, which was the reason for joining the strike initially? Because what I have here on the news as well is a matter restraining resident doctors the Rivers State University Teaching Hospital from embarking on strike is due for hearing today. So it does appear that the battle line was drawn and the River State government was not negotiating anything, appears. Emphasis on the word appears. And as a matter of fact, had gone to court to restrain the doctors from embarking on a strike, and that matter was due for hearing today. So I'm just wondering when and how exactly, once again, the River State government showed this resolve. It would be nice for someone to explain that. But once again, I'm simply seeking an explanation, because if indeed the River State government has shown some resolve to address those lingering issues, wonderful, fantastic, kudos, then call off the strike. But it would be nice to know when and how this resolve has been shown. And, just asking for a friend. So I think that might be it for today's side comments. Maybe there was one other matter that I think there was some matter that concerned me earlier. Okay, I think it's this one. Yeah, River State Ministry of Education has vowed to sanction private schools planning early third-term vacation. The Ministry of Education, in a statement by its PAMSEC, Chidi Adiele, said based on the calendar approved by Governor Nyesom Wike in August 2020, schools are to vacate for the third term 2020-2021 academic session on the 10th of September 2021. He said any private school that vacates before the approved closing date shall face appropriate sanctions. He also said officials of the State Ministry of Education shall be deployed to seal up schools that vacate before the approved closing date. I don't know. There's a school calendar. Should that calendar be adhered to? I strongly believe yes. But we are in very special times right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, And I think that if there was a way to get kids away from gathering, in schools, for example, early enough, I think it should be something the River State government or any government anywhere should not be against. If the schools say that we finished our programs and we think the kids should vacate or the schools should go on vacation earlier than an approved calendar, I mean, we should be able to give some exemption at this time. I think. Strictly because of the COVID-19. We're talking about a third wave right now, with the Delta variant, making its rounds all over the world, including here in Nigeria. So, if the schools say we're done, and it means they don't have the students or pupils don't have to gather at their schools any longer. Why not let them shut down and go home? I think. I don't know. Strictly because of COVID-19. That's all, basically. So that's a wrap for today's side comments. There's something talking, something. Oh yeah, Your Excellency, finally, please look into the situation with the RSHDA students who the River State government sent out on scholarship some years ago. The dire situation many of them are in right now leaves a lot to be desired. And Your Excellency, in about 2017, you made some promises at Chatham House in the UK, in London. Those promises reportedly are yet to be fulfilled. Let's look into that. As for side comments, I go on a break. When I return, today's side comments comes up. Do please stay with us.
Keeping up with political issues and developments around you, only on Nigeria Info.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Okay, Mark, it is Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info, here in Port Harcourt and Dial, and I'd like to rant for just a bit. I've got something in my mind, a few thoughts I'll be expressing on it, and you're welcome to express your thoughts of mine all the way till 4 p.m. Well, you must have heard this like a billion times already, not necessarily from me, but other sources, credible sources even, that the primary reason for leadership, in fact, in my estimation, if not the only reason for leadership at any level, is problem solving. Not to be boss, not for people to greet you, not to bear title, not to squeeze face, not to bear title, whatever the title is, or as in government circles or political circles, not to be called honorable or excellency, or go about in bulletproof SUVs with your own personal security detachment, and people claim their loyalty to you. That's not it. That's not the reason, actually. Unfortunately, most people feel that way, or lots of people at least feel that way. But it's problem solving, actually. And one critical thing that's needed if you're going to solve problems is for leadership to be proactive. You have to be proactive as a leader. What does it mean to be proactive? It means creating or controlling a situation rather than just responding to it after it has happened. So creating or controlling a situation rather than just responding or reacting to it after it has happened. Because whenever a problem has happened, more often than not, a lot more has gone wrong before the problem that you are seeing. So, in attempting to solve that problem, you may have to solve several other problems that were not immediately apparent. Now, for those of you who own vehicles, or if you own a vehicle, for example, whenever your car packs up and it shuts down and you're trying to start it and it doesn't start, or you're on a trip, you're in transit, you're heading someplace and the car simply stops. More often than not, especially if you have a good mechanic checking it out, anyways, okay, if you have a good mechanic checking it out, you will discover that very likely more than one thing's wrong. And if you are an observant car owner or driver, the car would have been giving you signs before it eventually packs up. That means something was already wrong. There must have been some signs. You must have felt some vibration. You must have heard some sound that was unusual. You must have felt something. You must have felt something. But you probably ignored it, or you didn't know, if you don't really know much about car maintenance, or you didn't even know something was wrong. But later on, you know, oh, okay, so that sound I was hearing, or that thing I was feeling, is because even at that time that sound was being made, something was wrong. Or at the time you were feeling that vibration, something was wrong. But because you left it unattended to, something bigger is going to get wrong, and then the car packs up. So being proactive is an integral tool, is an integral skill that leaders need to resolve problems. Unfortunately, most leadership in Nigeria, especially in the political sphere or in government, do not know, maybe have never heard the word proactive before, or maybe have heard it but have no idea what it means, in my estimation, of course. Because usually you can literally write the script of how Nigerian government react to problems in Nigeria, and 10 out of 10 times you are going to be right. Okay, maybe that's exaggerated. 9.5 out of 10 times you are going to be correct. I remember when the resident doctor's brouhaha was brewing, and I think here in the studio, definitely in the studio here, I don't remember if it was a rant or a side comment, but I did predict how this was going to go, because they are prone to go in that way, how that the doctors will announce that they have given notice, they have warned government, they have done this, government did not listen, government did not respond, and then they are going to embark on a strike. And then the strike is declared. And then for a couple of days, that the strike started, a day or two, maybe even 3 days, government would still not respond or react, and then eventually government will react, and government will suggest that these things that they're talking about, these are being worked on, these things are being worked on, In fact, His Excellency, Mr. President, has been taking giant strides. Yeah, we know the work that he has done. This man so cares about the healthcare. Don't mind that he always travels to the UK when he has toothache, but he cares about the healthcare. And so it does recently, the Executive Council approved 222.75 billion to revamp. Revamping work is going on. As revamping work is going on as we speak, as I'm talking to right now, I just left a revamping site where healthcare is being revamped in this country. And then when they realized that does not work, like they thought it was going to work anyway, then the doctors will not budge after they are ordered, and then the next thing is a threat. We start to issue threats. No work, no pay. In fact, we are going to sack all of them. All the resident doctors who do not, in fact, henceforth, from the moment I stop this press conference, any doctor that does not report for work is sacked. We're going to replace all of them. After all, we have teaming doctors out there who are coming out, who don't have work. We employ them, we'll flush all of them out. And then, of course, the resident doctors or doctors will not listen to this threat. They've heard it too many times. And then eventually, we're going to bring them to the table. We're going to have discussions. We're going to negotiate. And then, you have the government representatives. After every time they have a meeting in Abuja or somewhere, they come out to the press and then they're smiling and laughing before the cameras and say, we're all in this together. We're all discussing. Discussions are ongoing. Government is we're negotiating. Mr. President gave a directive last night. In fact, he woke me up around 2 a.m. saying he had a nightmare. He couldn't sleep. The president saw himself going to one of our hospitals, and immediately he just fainted. So he just in that nightmare, he saw himself going to a hospital in Nigeria and he fainted. So he called us and said that we should resolve the matter immediately. Now you can see we're negotiating, we're discussing here, and blah 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 blah. And through to type, it is going on exactly as predicted. Here's a story from the Punch newspaper. No work, no pay directive. FG battles NARD, opens attendance registers, resident doctors adamant. Once again, 9.5 out of 10 times, you will be exactly correct as to how problems or challenges are handled by government in Nigeria. Here's a bit of the story. The federal government has mandated all chief medical directors in teaching hospitals across the country to open attendance registers, with a view to stopping salaries of doctors taking part in a strike called by the National Association of Resident Doctors. The order, revealed to the Punch by a senior health official, was also confirmed by the president of NARD, Dr. Oyilawa, on Sunday. The senior health official stated, quote, government is determined to implement the no work, no pay order as from tomorrow. Attendance registers will be opened in all hospitals. Everybody will be paid based on attendance. Now, as government and resident doctors on Sunday traded blame over the strike, plight of patients in the affected hospitals worsened as many of them were withdrawn by their relatives. Recall that NARD on Monday last week resumed the strike it suspended on April 10, following the federal government's promise to meet its demands, including payment of the residency fund, COVID-19 allowance, hazard allowance, as well as the outstanding salary shortfalls. Before resuming the strike on Monday, the doctors alleged the federal government failed to implement the memorandum of understanding it signed with them. After over 100 days, they suspended their last strike. And it goes on and on and on and on. Well, that's it. So now we are at the stage of threatening no work, no pay policy. Maybe they're taking the cue from what's happening here in River State. I don't know. But we are at the stage of no work, no pay. And then, of course, what will happen. The strike will not be called off. And then we're going to now get to the stage of negotiations. Yes, we're all friends. You see, we're all laughing together. We're laughing together. In fact, we just finished eating buns right now. You see, he shared my buns, I shared his buns. See, the president of NARD is eating the same buns on the same plate. You can see it's a happy family. It's a happy family, So we're sure we're going to resolve the matters soon enough. Conclusively, leadership in Nigeria, especially in government circles, should learn proactiveness. Identify the problem before it even happens. When you start to hear that funny sound, when you start to feel that funny vibration, deal with it, address it, fix it. Fix it. Do something different. Proactiveness is good. If you're going to be a successful leader, then it's fair. On that note, I end my rant. Thanks for listening. I hope I didn't bore you. Any thoughts about it, Eric? Numbers are the same lines are open. We got 0817-923-0002 or 0003. 0817-923-0007 as well. WhatsApp on 0809-030-6416. Please keep it brief and straight to the point. And once the call is answered, turn down the volume of your radio set as well. What's up? If medical doctors outside Nigeria are treated the way Nigerian doctors are treated, will the president travel for health checks? I think these so-called leaders don't know what it takes. I've got Charles from Rukboko. Hello, Charles. You're welcome. Please go on.
Okay, thank you. The idea is very simple. It's about, I'll call it continuity in this context now. So the circle, let's just continue with the circle. Our leaders are not innovative. So they cannot be proactive. If you want to be proactive, then you have to be innovative. But unfortunately, our leaders are not designed to be innovative. So our thought is that they allow this cycle to continue. So they just keep themselves busy for another 4 years, and after 4 years they go back for elections, keep themselves busy, following exactly the same cycle. They want to define insanity, use our leaders to define insanity, that continue doing the same thing and expect a different result at the end of the day. Thank you, Charles Ovopopo.
Hello, Belema from OGRA. Hi, go ahead.
Yes. Good evening. Just as you said, these things are like just know the end. It's like a broken record that is being played over and over. And it takes one's early intelligent mind imagination to ask the question you ask. What is the function of a leader? It's not to bring solutions, to solve problems. And ever since I know as myself, this issue of health, like every other sector, public service sector, has been recurring. What did the leader aspire to do when they say, I want to become a leader? One begins to wonder. Because if you find out that these are the challenging issues, instead of like the president now, running abroad for treatment, he said, look, what is the cause? What are the solutions? If you think in that direction, and you call results, you put available resources, both human, capital, and everything together, internally and externally, there is no way we will solve these different perennial and recurring decimals that we have like as challenges. Okay, so it's not like rocket science. It's not.
No, it's not actually. It's
not at all.
No, it's not.
These things are there. What are causing the every time they are saying more welfare, they are saying more working environment, but all the unpaid due allowances. What are the causes, health minister? What are the causes, Mr. President? What are the solutions? They are there. So I think that summarily, it's obvious. These politicians are purely focused on their self-aggrandizement. And that's why they are blind to it. Because all through scientific school of thought, the moment you focus on the matter, you will see possibilities. You will see, if you don't see possibilities, you will see alternative ways.
Absolutely.
So, it means that they're not seeing the alternative ways because they're not thinking about the issue. So, 2023 is around the corner. You have a choice to be enslaved again and be calling Dayo and be complaining again, or to be responsible citizens and play our civic duty before, during, and after. No leader goes there again. No appointment of any minister. We don't want to stay in your house. Let us stay in our own houses. Those who know what to do, leaders who can bring solutions.
Belema, good to have you. Anthony from Cheba, good afternoon. Go on.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
Please, I want to collect something. The doctor, Christine, has come out to say that most of the doctors' demands are taken care of by state government. So why are we focusing the lines on the federal government? Why the state government are the one that should be taking care of them?
I think you completely missed the essence of the rant.
I don't think, for what I'm understanding, we are now shifting the blame to federal government.
Okay.
Please, let's be guided.
Let's be guided. All right. We're guided. Dana from Choba, hi, go on.
Hello, good afternoon, Nigerian info.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Looking into the issue of the doctors and the federal government, I think it's a hard time that we, the public, we have to assist them at least. We don't have to leave everything for them because the doctors, they are really trying. And if you come to some of the hospitals, as in the government hospitals, and you see what is happening there, you feel pity.
Okay, Daniel, so how do the people help them? How do the people help the doctors? How would the people help the doctors?
We need to help them by these things they are fighting for, like what they are saying now. We don't have to keep quiet. We have to come out and assist them, saying it out, and if there's any way we can put things in order for them, not just leaving everything that let them go to the government. And we have leaders, we have like the communities, we have paramount leaders, we have local government chairman, and all the rest. Those ones are the ones that are close to us. We should go and disturb them, not violence, not going to fight them, but at least you go to their office, you make it serious that we the poor ones, we that are in the communities, we are in need of these things, and they should take the report to the high place where the necessary things should come down to us.
Daniel from Cheba, great to hear from you, sir. Victor from Illinois, hi, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good day, go on.
You see, the truth is that, just like one of the callers said, that the system of government we have in Nigeria is that you do the same thing and you expect a different result, which is called insanity. You see, these people know what they are doing, not that they don't know what they are doing. They know what they are doing. In my own estimation, I would say these people know what they are doing. Because you can't tell me that. Sometimes I don't know. It's like some of them don't know if they really know what is this honorable and the honorable the government. They don't know if that honorable is not a tool. It's a responsibility.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like some of them don't know.
All right. I mean, Victor is referring to Chief Honorable. I mean, come on. I mean, Chief Honorable sounds like pretty much like a title. Well, at least as far as they're concerned. Chief Honorable Mrs. Oh well. Via Facebook, Jeff Cooper Daniels goes, I find it hard to accept how our so-called excellencies and honorables are receiving fat pay as hardship allowance, yet none of them has ever cried out of facing hardship. They also receive newspaper allowance, which I'm sure 90% of them never lift up newspapers to read up to 30 minutes, that if they decide to do so. But paid doctors hazard allowance, which even a blind man knows what these doctors are passing through, especially in this pandemic period. It's hard for them. I'm disappointed. Onishi goes, I've not heard of ministers or commissioners going on strike because government didn't pay their salaries or anything accorded to them. Why are the same measures not used in other government institutions to avoid every time strike? Alala goes, I find it hard to accept how our government, state, federal, and National Assembly members are taking home huge amounts of money, and yet none of them has ever cried out of facing hardship. But paid doctors has the allowance, which and that's supposedly tough, I guess. John from Illinois is gone. Couldn't wait, I guess. Maybe John is facing some hardship himself. Back to WhatsApp. Samson Berepele. It's unfortunate that a minister who claims that he was trained as a doctor can threaten the starving doctors of SAC. Let him sack them, go to his village, and handpick 17,000 motorcycle mechanics and spare parts sellers to take over. Good afternoon. Those doctors don't know their worth in the profession. How can they say no work, no pay, and they are afraid the people, telling them that have they not been collecting their own salaries. That's from Jaja Maxwell. Di, good afternoon. This is from Splendid. I laughed hard when it all started playing out as you rightly predicted. My brother, when it fixed in Nigeria, advised our doctors to look for a way and travel abroad. Here is not worth it. Well, Splendid, if they all travel abroad or overseas, what happens to me? I'm here. I have no intentions of relocating someplace. I don't know about you, Splendid, but from look of things, it appears you're still here. What happens to you when you need medical attention sometime? Good, as you said, the primary purpose of leadership is to creatively solve problems, but in Nigeria, our leaders are busy creating problems. Leadership is a misfortune when one works in an unstable system with people who do not understand the responsibility to the system. That's what is going on in Nigeria. That's Emmanuel from Bonny. Good, dial. It's only Nigeria leaders that their house will be on fire and they will be chasing rats when they're busy going abroad for treatment. How will they fix our medical sector? Until our leaders are banned from going abroad for medical treatment, our health sector will remain in shambles. That's Timothy in Yama from Abloma. Don't you be surprised that our political leaders travel overseas for medical tourism and still meet Nigerians as doctors who attend to them. I wish they give them wrong dosage. Samuel Oreazo said that no doctor or medical practitioner is going to do that, Samuel. But that's a very interesting point to note, Samuel, because if you go to London, for example, you meet a lot of or to the UK or even the US, you meet tons of Nigerians who are the doctors or medical or nurses over there. A very large number. Even these days in Canada and Australia, you meet large medical personnel in the systems over there. Remarkable. So Honorable would live here to go and meet Chukudi in London, Obina Chukudi, to treat him. When Obina Chukudi was here, they were owing him hazard allowance. And then Obina found a way out, and then Honorable would leave Nigeria to go and meet the same Dr. Obina Chukudi in London. Remarkable stuff. So why not pay Dr. Obina Chukudi here very well, train him here, so that Dr. Obina Chukudi will not only attend to you, Honorable, here, but would also attend to several other Nigerians and keep them in good health. What's wrong with that? Honorable, must you go to London to meet Dr. Obina Chukudi and then spend the hard-earned foreign exchange, which we claim to not have, in London to get Dr. Obina Chukwudi's service, when you could have trained Dr. Obina Chukwudi here, trained him very well, equip our hospitals, and get similar treatment here. All right, we've got the business news coming up shortly, top of the hour, 4 p.m., after which I will return. Conversation will continue with Henry Akine on the arraignment of Boko Haram suspects. Do please stay with us.